Just think of it as the rough draft of the podcast world. This is the Newbie Writers Podcast with your hosts Damien, Boath and Catherine Bramkamp.
Hey, this is episode 197 of the Newbie Writers Podcast. And it's that Christmas cheer thing. It's terrible.
I was going to say, it must be very difficult to listen to Christmas carols and to think about Christmas and get in the Christmas spirit when it's flipping 44 degrees at your house.
Yes, this is true. We just set some record for 4 days in a row of 44, 43. Which is
and you said that there's streets that are, your asphalt is like softening and actually melting.
Yes, it melted in one of the towns here. I had to fix it.
Dude.
Because it's 111 Fahrenheit. Just without a break.
That is just crazy.
And yeah, I was in a roof yesterday. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. And
not so good.
No,
not so good.
People make it worse as well by, you jump in the car, it's boiling hot, you've got the air conditioning cranking thing, I'll put the radio on, and one station played that Mariah Carey Christmas song.
All I Want for Christmas Is You?
Yeah, and I thought, I'm done. I must have had
I don't even know how you how you kind of deal with that. I mean, it's bad enough living in California and we listen to a White Christmas, over and over again. And I'm thinking, I've seen one White Christmas my entire life. The rest of the time, we're really happy for rain. Yay, wet Christmas. I can't even imagine. It's 111 degrees outside, and you've listened to snow falling. It's like Winter Wonderland. Seriously?
Not going to happen. But so I did leave a water bottle in my van while I was working and came back. I'd been in the sun for, 6 hours. It was actually boiling. There was little boil bubbles going up.
Oh my gosh.
Get me a tea bag. That'd be all right.
Oh, you'd be perfect, but oh my word. Oh my word. So do you have Australian-based Christmas carols that have been switched around to deal with the season?
Probably, but I'm not going to... No, and I don't do caroling. I don't do Christmas. I don't like Christmas at all. It was just a surprise to people if you've been listening to this show for 3 years.
Considering you've got a Scrooge little icon for your Skype call, seriously.
And I'm so thrilled, my boy. And look, if anyone's listening, they've got kids in the car who are of young age, turn it off now. Skip ahead 3 minutes. He was having breakfast the other day and he says, "Mum, I've worked it out. Santa doesn't exist."
Oh, no.
Sharon's gone, "Why?" Guess what? It's pretty obvious. Every time you see one, there's always a different person. Never looks the same. Yeah. And then, so we had the conversation, and then he said to me, "So now that I know that Santa's not real, can I tell all my friends?"
No.
No. Can I tell my cousins? Definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not the cousins.
So anyway. It's good.
We did that with when the boys finally, figured out there was no Santa, and they're pretty cool with it. Just like Julian. That was exactly the next thing we said. He says, "Okay, but you are not to tell your cousins. you have to hold this. You're gonna have to hold the whole Santa thing going for another 4 or 5 years."
Yep.
And the deal was, they said, "Okay, if we pretend we believe, will you continue to deliver gifts?" And we said, "Yes, we will."
Yep, we had to do the same.
Problem solved.
You'll still get a present from Santa, so when they say, "What did Santa get?" you can honestly say.
That's right. You can say, "Sure," because it's signed right here in my mother's handwriting from Santa. You got it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just like, "Oh, I don't lie to them." I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't need to tell them either."
That's right. That's right. You don't have to pursue it. If they ask you point blank, which they won't, then now you've got a problem. But for the most part, kids don't ask point blank. They're not that dumb.
No. Well, who knows? I don't know. We've got a guest on who's sitting there very patiently. We've got S.C Alban on. Sam, do you like Christmas? Are you a Christmas person?
You know what? This year I am making a big effort to be a Christmas person. In the past, haven't been too cheery, but I'm trying to appreciate the Christmas. holiday joy around me. I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I have a tree up.
Sounds like you're struggling a bit.
Now, Sam, you're a teacher as well, right?
I am a teacher, yes.
So does that make a difference as far as the general enjoyment and or anticipation of the holiday?
Yeah, usually after Thanksgiving, my students, they tend to be a bit focused on Christmas and Christmas break. So it does get a little distracting at times. And the way our school schedule is set up, we have a week off for Thanksgiving, and then we go back to school for 2.5 weeks, and then it's another 2-week holiday for the winter holidays. So really we have this kind of strange 2.5 week period of time, which the students are just waiting until Christmas break.
Yeah. So they're just it's a holding pattern. You're sort of holding them.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of Scrooge in the classroom, though. Like, we're not talking about Santa. We're talking about reading right now and math.
Oh. Yeah, see, that sounds so janked up because here we've got our summer, so everyone's finished school now last week, and so they've got 8 weeks off.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, everyone goes back in 1st of February. So, I don't know. That way you don't...
So that's a nice Christmas break. I like that.
Well, yeah, I don't know why you guys don't do something similar. Just go structure your term so you have Thanksgiving leading up to Christmas, then you can go back early January.
Well, we have summer break, just like you do. So we have, from June until the end of August, where it's hot or typically hot in most of our areas. Then that's when that long break is during the hot season.
Well, it's not my fault you're backwards.
I know it's not your fault that we're backwards.
Anyway.
Totally. So we asked Sam on to tell us about her first book, which I have in my hands right here, and what brought you to writing it. I mean, obviously you're a teacher, so tell us a little bit about that as well. But let's start with the book and what inspired you to write A Life Without Living.
Well, I've always been a huge reader, but especially that paranormal fantasy, witches, werewolves, vampires, shapeshifters. I've just always been a big fan of reading books that take these really just fantastical, myths and images to like an everyday reality. And so I've always been a writer, a little bit of on the creative side. I like to think so. So, always keeping journals and writing dreams down and then just one day I thought, what if I just took this one little idea and then just kind of made it into a short story and then kind of just expanded it a little more and a little more, and over the course of the year I had this novel, and that's kind of how it came to be.
Very cool. So a little more organic. It's what it sounds like. Where did you work on it like after school, before school? Did you have a system where you're like, okay, at 4:30 in the afternoon, I'm going to write for half an hour? How did you manage it?
Well, I had to, like my system was very, I really had to create a schedule for it, it kind of almost stifled the creative process, but because I kind of like, in general, I'm kind of like floopy and all out there and, kind of just go by the seat of my pants and how, but I really had to plan for like setting time aside to do writing, specifically for this. At the same time, I was working towards my master's. So I really didn't have a lot of extra time. I really had to schedule out, okay, I go to work and then I come home, and I do have 2 children. So we do all the mom stuff and then get them to bed, and then work on my assignments. And basically I scheduled from 9 p.m. till 12 a.m. That was my writing time, if I had the energy to do it that day.
I'll be in bed.
Yeah, I was dead too. I'm impressed. I don't think I would be able to hold up, and I know I didn't. So when did you sleep?
I did most of my sleeping. I have to admit, I did feel sleep deprived when I was writing that novel, because I did sleep just from about 12 to about 5:36. So
Oh wow.
I did feel a bit sleep deprived, but it kind of like, it was almost like I just had this urge, like this feeling inside me, like this needs to come out. And it almost was like it needed to come out now. I needed
Uh-huh.
to do it right now, or it wasn't going to get done. And so it was really motivating to be able to have this release. And it was also a release of like, my day, and it was me time. So it was time that I looked forward to.
Uh-huh.
I put on my headphones and kind of shut everything out around me and just kind of had, 3 hours of time to myself. And it was nice in that way, but it was exhausting.
Yeah, sounds like it. It sounds like it. So, um, how did you find your publisher? So I'm just going to walk you through the whole thing because I'm always interested
Oh,
in how new people kind of figure this out.
yeah, well, I'm completely new to this whole industry, and so I put out letters to agents and other publishers and got numerous rejections, and just, kept going at it until finally I guess carried the right publisher at the right time,
Uh-huh.
and they just, I actually forgot I had sent it in, and about 5 weeks, 6 weeks later, I got this email that said, "We really like this.
Oh,
Send the whole thing, please." So they had the whole thing, and within a few weeks after that, they were wanting to offer me a contract.
that is
So
awesome. So
I,
it was
I think
just,
it,
go ahead.
I was just saying, I think it was just a matter of just submitting it at the right time, um, with the right content at the right time. Like, it just almost, a little bit of luck, and hopefully, I think it's a good story too. But but really, I didn't have any other connections, and I still don't have representation. So agent representation. So
Uh-huh.
it was kind of just lucky, I guess.
Okay. All right. But you sent queries out. So it wasn't necessarily
Yes.
luck in that regard. You had to do something.
Oh yeah, no, I sent out several. Like, yeah, had to do my research and kind of see what other people have done, and go to the library and check out the books. How do you write a letter? And I kind of
Yeah.
had to start from the beginning, and teaching myself how, like, what the official, the quote unquote, the proper way to submit, and what a letter would, what people would like to see in a letter, and join some online forums, with
Okay.
Writer Digest and other like magazines like that, to try to get some of other people's advice or experiences, to try to help to get me going on the right track.
Okay.
How funny would it be if you were just out somewhere getting a coffee and someone tapped you on the shoulder and said, "You look like a writer. Have you got a book? I'm a publisher." And
Yeah, exactly. Don't we wish? No. It was just, I really don't. I mean, I was an English literature major, and I actually, and when I was much younger, I had this dream of, I went to San Francisco, went to school in San Francisco, lived there. I had this wonderful dream of living in San Francisco and being a poet, and just making a living that way. and and then
That is a dream.
and then 22 years old, I realized, oh, right after I graduated, so I'm not sure that's going to be a plan that I can do right away once I figure this
Yeah.
out. And so I kind of, put a lot of my education and passion towards education itself, and you know connecting with students, and aspiring writers, and really enjoying that um, aspect as well, and kind of put my like passion aside for a little bit while I kind of pursued this career. And but then, eventually, it all comes back around, and then I realized, no, it's time to put in some work and figure out what I'm going to do here. It's been a kind of a meandering journey.
So
But
I'm looking at your bio on your website, and it mentions that in your early 30s you were diagnosed with a hearing loss problem.
yes.
Was that a bit of a setback as well for when it comes to like career side of things? If you're going to become a teacher, and you have, I mean, I guess if they're little kids, you don't really want to hear them anyway. But how did you overcome that?
Well, it's the hearing loss that I have. It's not profound, and it's not even at a severe level yet. It's moderate hearing loss. It's both ears, and because it happened later on in around my early 30s. I've had 30 years of being a hearing person and having speech, and and so the transition is just frustrating. It's not so much difficult as it just is frustrating. I benefit from hearing aids. However, they do make me a little dizzy, and when I put them in, it's a little too much. So I'm still trying to navigate that. But I can. I have 30 years of experience as a hearing person, so I can be in a conversation, and if there's not a lot of background noise, I can follow along perfectly. It's an adjustment, and it's more of a frustration, if anything,
So
at this point. But my father and my grandfather also had a hearing loss that started in their 30s and 40s, and so. If it's genetic, which it appears to be, then by the time I'm 70, I'm gonna have to. I'll have a pretty significant hearing loss if hardly any hearing. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
So how did you just start to notice that you were just missing things when someone was? I mean, I have that. I'm in my early 30s, but I just put that down to 10 years of being in a heavy metal band as an idiot.
Yeah.
I started with a lot of telephones. I would miss mostly all my phone conversations. They have to be on a speakerphone and blaring. Well, I don't consider it blaring, but everyone else in the house considers it blaring. But it has to be really on the loudest with amplified speaker. But mostly when I was talking on the telephone, I'd miss what people were saying, every fourth or fifth word. But I'd kind of do the yeah, okay, and kind of make my way through until I figured out what the whole conversation was about, and put it in context. And then when my kids were real young, it was just about 8 years ago, I missed their because little kids have little soft voices and high-pitched voices, and I'd be missing what they're saying, and I'd be like, that's odd. Or I'd be in the kitchen cooking, and I wouldn't hear the doorbell because I was busy, because the sizzling or the boiling, or so I'd miss it. So I noticed people would get frustrated with me because I'd not answer the door or not hear what they said on the telephone, or my kids would be like, "Mom!"
See, that's what I was going to say. You actually do miss out on one very thing that I would love to miss out on, and that is hearing Mom, Dad. And you're like, if I could give to not hear that.
Sometimes it is a blessing. They know. Now my daughter's she's going to be 13, and she knows that if she wants to tell me something, she needs to go into the same room as me and say, and get my attention, make sure I'm looking at her. Otherwise, she knows I probably won't catch what she's saying, which which could also be a blessing. Well, it's lucky
Yeah.
for her too, because sometimes there's
Yeah.
like grumbling under her. She gets upset with me or does a little grumble. I can just very easily just let it go.
Yeah.
Because I don't really hear it. I know it's not happiness sometimes, so
Huh.
I miss out on a little bit of the grumbles, but
Sounds fantastic. Have you thought about maybe writing a book about going through this?
I've thought a little bit about it, but I just feel so inexperienced with it myself. It does feel new. And one of the things, what was very strange is my audiologist had mentioned to me, if it gets significant, if it progresses to a point where it becomes more of a moderate severe loss, that I would be a candidate for a cochlear implant.
Oh.
And I just thought I looked that up and did some research, and I just thought, wow, that is just strange. That's like a pretty, for me, that would be a pretty invasive surgery to do when I could learn ASL, or communicate that way. And so actually I did go back to school and learn American Sign Language for that reason, just to kind of prepare myself. And I've met some great, amazing deaf people who that I just would have never met before or communicated with, because I didn't know this whole other culture and language. So that's been really great.
Well, how does American Sign Language differ from Australian Sign Language or English Sign Language? This isn't one of those American things, is it?
One.
They have different. They're completely different signs. The American Sign Language is based off of French Sign Language. It's its own language, but its roots are from the French. What they call the British Sign Language is a completely different language. I mean, they use two hands, and for like the alphabet, and American Sign Language uses one hand. So it's completely different. Thai Sign Language, again, different. They have sign language. I've met somebody from Pakistan. He was a deaf man from Pakistan, and he uses a completely different sign language. So I mean, it's not universally, and they all have their different dialects and their different words and their different signs for the same word. It's very interesting. I'm still trying to get a handle on American Sign Language. It's such a rich language, and I would call myself conversationally fluent. By no means am I like proficient. So it's something you have to study.
So then, like any other language, can you then be offending someone? Like you're thinking, oh, I'm asking them, how their day was, and they're getting really offended at you because you've just told them that they're a goat.
Did you? Well, that's actually, I've actually signed the wrong things to people before, and actually nobody's actually told me they've been offended, but they're very good at correcting you immediately. So they would say like, no, you're wrong. That's not right. Do this. This is the word. This is the sign you want. They'll describe it to you. They're like, no, this wrong. This is right. And it's just very matter of fact. Like, it's very much, I think American Sign Language and the deaf culture, it's very much about information sharing. Like, people are very willing and open to share information, and it's not offensive. So even descriptions of people are not, like, you could describe a person, and I've had deaf people describe other people to me, and they're just describing them. It's just very matter of fact. This person, tall, fat, with, this, they're just very matter of fact, and it's just about sharing the information.
So then, when you the politicians stand up there and then they have the person doing the sign language, I always like to think, this is where my imagination goes on, it's a language that people that can hear don't no, they don't understand. Have you ever seen it and then tell it, that person's not actually signing what that politician's saying? Or what's the chances of them going, this guy is a dickhead in sign language, and all of the people that can understand sign language are chuckling, going, ha, 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 that's on national TV. I don't know.
That would be something.
Because some of them, some politicians talk, quite quickly, and I see them, and the people doing the sign language just like, smoke's going to come out of their armpits with the way they're moving around. And I just think, if that was me, I'd be like, just shut up. That's how I would.
Yeah. Well, I think what makes it complicated too for me is that, especially when I watch an interpreter or like at a play or at a speech, is that they're not signing English grammar. They're using American Sign Language. It holds its own grammar rules, and sometimes you might, instead of just, there might not be a sign for a word. You might have to describe it. You might use way more signs than the one word. So, and it's, hopefully, like a lot of times, like I know when I go to plays and there's an interpreter at a play, they have the script. So they're, it's just like they're just like actors. So they'll need to, memorize the script and the play, because they might have to describe a whole bunch of scenes, a whole bunch of words. It's like maybe 4 or 5 words spoken, but yet it might take maybe 15 signs, 10 or 15 signs.
So how do you then sign people's names? I think this can come around to, if they said former Prime Minister Tony Abbott and the only sign that they could come up with is Monkey Man.
Gollum, is that?
Gollum. But how do they do that with names?
So, but with names that you would, a lot of times people have sign names, and somebody within the deaf culture will assign. They'll come up with a name or a sign or representation for that name. So, so then they don't have to finger spell the name each time. So, when my full name is Samantha, but whenever they want to talk to me, or they talk using my name, they won't say, go ask Samantha and finger spell my name. They've given my friends who are deaf, they've given me a name sign. So among our circle, they just do my name sign, and that's like one sign as opposed to spelling out 8 different letters.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, and they'll do that with people, like famous people, presidents, and
what's the sign for
various
Trump?
politicians.
What's the sign for Donald Trump?
Oh gosh, I'm not up on my research from that one.
Oh.
Hair, just like blown hair.
And typically they do some sort of characteristic. A person's name sign could be like a characteristic about them. So if something really sticks out, my friends told me I was very serious. So because I'm trying to study sign language, I'm very serious in my sign language groups and with my friends, and they were saying, oh, you're so serious. So they gave me a name sign, which is the letter S, and then in the sign for serious, but instead of using the finger for serious, the pointer finger that you would use to make the sign serious, they would just use an S and do it in the same direction, but in the same place that you would sign serious. So then it's like S on the chin, and that's my name sign. So because I'm a serious person apparently,
Right.
but but physical character, people smile if they're funny, if they have a nice smile or a funny laugh or long hair, if they have any type of facial piercing or anything distinctive that makes them their own, that's kind of like where their name sign might come from.
Oh. Well,
because they wanted to make it unique for that person.
You can do a name sign generator. Should we do that? I want to put Donald Trump in there.
Okay.
Anyway.
Not that we're not tired of him or anything.
No, but you're Americans. Anyway.
Lordy.
Yes, us Americans. Exactly right.
So, but it's been wonderful to learn. It's so much I've been learning, just being part of the deaf culture or learning about it, immersing myself in their culture, and just meeting some amazing teachers and people have really just helped me learn about something I probably would not have learned about before. It's not like we cover it in school, this
Right.
whole culture that we don't, it's not in our curriculum. So I feel very lucky
Do you think
to
it
have this
should be?
experience.
What are some of the other things that you noticed in, because we talk about a deaf culture. What are some of the other, features that you've come across that would be considered, different than a, quote, hearing culture, let's just say, and why develop their own culture? Is there a sense of wanting to be among similar people? I mean, we all do that. We all ghettoize ourselves. So is that part of what the deaf culture is? Is like you just want to hang with people who are in the same space as you are?
Well, I can't really. I just want to say I'm still a student myself, so I can't really speak for everyone. But from what I've learned going to school and studying is that I think that you do want to, just like any culture, you surround yourself with people that understand your experiences and your struggles, and just like any other culture,
Right.
if you go to San Francisco, you have Little Italy and Chinatown. You're just, people like to surround themselves a lot of times with other people who understand their struggles and experiences, and
Yes.
that they could help each other up when if there's any type of struggle or in time of need. Or one thing I did that I find very different is that in especially when you're in a classroom setting in deaf culture, from my experiences going to my ASL classes, usually if I go to a class and I'm running late, I will, if I went to an English class or a math class in college, if I was running late, quietly sneak in and kind of go to the back and sit down and try not to disturb anyone and don't disturb the
Right.
professor. They're right in the middle of their lecture, and you just don't you're late. So you
Right.
just kind of go in and quietly do your thing. In ASL, if you're late and you try to sneak in, everything stops. The professor might stop you and ask you, "Why are you late?" And
Oh,
you
wow.
have to answer, "Oh gosh, I was late because there was traffic." "Oh, where was that traffic?" Or, "Oh, is everything okay?" You have to there's a lot more of explaining to do.
Oh, wow.
You're and
That's
a lot more,
interesting.
and it's not necessarily that they're upset. They just would like to know what do you, not my she wasn't necessarily upset. She just wanted to know, "Oh, why are you late? Do you know you have to be here yes, I know I'm supposed to be here on time." "Okay, well, what happened?" "My car was, some traffic." "Oh, where is that at?" I try to avoid it when I go home. And it was just
Wow.
different, very
You get a
different.
whole
And
conversation. Yeah.
yeah, and the whole class stops and
Oh,
everyone looks, and people might have a question, and you're like, "Wow,
I think
that's a lot different."
I think you could.
I know, I always feel that it's a very information sharing. You want to make sure that everyone knows what's happening, and they're very willing to share information as a culture. I feel I've always had a very, very positive experience, and I felt like they're very gracious and understanding that I'm still learning and I'm not, fluent. So they're very, you know, my teachers and people in the deaf community have been very good about adjusting their speed of sign. So, to go faster or slower, or they kind of assess where I'm at, and then they completely adjust. And then they'll have a conversation at, at my level, to help me learn more. It's been amazing. Honestly, I've had wonderful experiences.
I think you could stop all those questions though pretty easily. It's like, why are you late? You just sign back diarrhea. No one is going to want to ask you anything after that.
You are bolder than the rest of us. I don't think I would go with that. I would just come up with something super lame and move on.
And you'd get to sit in your own row. That'd be amazing. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Anyway.
You can have the back of your classroom all to yourself, just what you wanted.
So, back on the writing side of things, so you've got A Life Without Living.
Yes.
You've got another one in the works by the looks of this. Is it Barely Living Alive? Oh, that's hard to say.
I do. It's a sequel, Barely Living Alive. It's a follow-up to A Life Without Living. I actually have a plan for 3 books to be part of the whole, to complete the series. And so I'm kind of working my way through that second one as well. But actually, it's a lot of pressure. I feel a lot of pressure to write the second book. And I don't know if this is typical, if other writers feel this way. But I just feel like I question so much every choice that is made, that when going into this book, I think, is it going to be as good? I don't want it to be worse. Is it going to be better? I want it to be stronger, because I've learned so much as a writer, and I want it to be a better representation of what I can do as a writer. And I want the story to also flow just as well, better than before. So I really do. I'm struggling with this, and I'm just, working my way through and plugging along. And I'm about a little more than halfway done, but I'm taking my time. I definitely noticed this one. I'm not going as fast as the first one just popped out.
Well, Catherine could probably help with that. Is that normal, Catherine, to sort of think, oh, I'm struggling now. I got over that initial lump of my first book out, and then you get that drive to do it again, but then you end up questioning yourself.
I think if you stop, I think what slows authors down is that voice in the back of the head. Is this going to be better? Can I do better? Oh my goodness, I got a publisher for the first book. Is the publisher going to want the second one? So you slow yourself down to a grinding halt with all of that second guessing, all that chatter going on in your head. What I found when I did Future Gold, I had another character in my head, and I had a whole situation, and I was really excited about it, and so I just wrote it as fast, and maybe even faster than the first Future Girls, and then Future Run went even faster, and then Future Sky just was crazy fast. So I think I tried to set aside any other expectations and just write the genuine story. So I think that's a lot of the reason why it gets slowed down the second or the third or the fourth. It's like, is it going to be better? Is everybody going to like it? Don't worry about everybody else. Just write because the story is compelling.
Okay. What about then, in your case, you've come sort of 3 or 4 books into the Future Run concept. That do you look back at it, if you smash it out and think, oh, it's getting a bit tired now. They've done the same thing 5 books in a row, 6 books in a row. Can that ever come into it?
I think at that point, and I know that's where I may be. This fourth one, maybe that's it. I mean, you can only flog an idea for so long, and I think that since you sometimes writers are under pressure to continually produce this same theme, but if you build in a finish, 3 books, 4 books, 5 books, and you say, okay, this is it, and then I'm going to go launch something else. That's going to give you some more freedom, so that you don't feel like you're constantly forced to return back to a theme or a style or books that you have no interest in. And artists are artists. I mean, we like shiny, pretty objects. So it's like, you finish one thing, it's like, whoa, look at that. And then we're off to another, another idea and another concept, which is correct. I mean, that's what writers do. So I think one of the ways to avoid that hamster treadmill is to give yourself a real finish to your series, so that you can go on and maybe do another series, but finish finish that one up, so that you're not, if you want to be on the treadmill, great, but some authors don't, and they want to just move on to something else.
So then, for Sam, what would be your third book's title? Would it be something like just Life Support? Or
Close. It's actually called Death Before Dying.
Hang a minute. Death Before... That's a bit like there was an article, someone posted up some news headline that said she was alive just before she died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's that in the torture sentences? That's fabulous.
See if I can dig it up for you. We'll put it into the pool. But yeah, I don't know. Do you sit down and think about your titles, Sam?
You know what? I probably should, but no, I don't. I just a life without living was kind of that actually I did think a lot about, and my characters do. It's kind of related to like their lives. Like they are living lives, but they're not really having their life. It's not really occurring. And then I just kind of, the last one, I just threw it out. You know, then the second and third one, I was just kind of fooling around with just that kind of the same type of style concept. But you know, they're all open still. They're tentatively titled.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm just thinking of like Catherine's books as well. The Future Run, Future Sky, Future Gold, Future, Back to the Future. I don't know.
No, we're not going back to the future.
Yeah. At what point though do you
for me,
stop?
that's what came to me, and so that's what I used. If the publisher says, "Hey, we'd like to get a better title for that," I'd be open to making a better title if we thought that it would sell more books.
So if you were going to do a prequel, then what would yours be, Catherine?
A prequel?
The History of the Future?
Girls from the Past. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if I would do a prequel. That's an interesting thought. But then you're the guy who keeps wanting me to build a time machine, and I still haven't. So still working on it.
Can you just do it for me and just have that as an added bonus download?
Bonus.
If you order
the
early,
director's cut.
yeah, exactly. If you order early, you get the time machine. Good
That
idea.
would be pretty good. I might consider that. If you order early, you get the time machine.
And you see, for our book, we could do a prequel. It'd be like, don't write like we used to talk.
There you go. But now we know better, so write this way.
Well, and then we could have the subline of "That's debatable." Anyway.
Which I have seen in the manuscript. I have seen your "That's debatable."
Yeah, I don't know which chapter that was, but it was very short.
Yes, it was. It was a short debate.
So, Sam, have you looked at your feedback and your reviews that you get on Amazon, and do you try to ignore them, or do you want to respond to them?
Well, no, I don't respond to them. No, I don't, and I don't ignore them. I read them. Sometimes, I'm a new writer. I'm still getting out there, so it's not. I don't have hundreds upon hundreds of reviews piling in. So when I do have a review, I read it and I really try to think about what that person is saying. I've had some really great reviews from people that just absolutely loved it, and I've had a review that just the person absolutely hated it. So it's just a matter of just opinion. Sometimes if there's something there, occasionally there's things in there that are very constructive, and I'm like, oh, I never thought of it that way, and I know this is my first novel, so it was a really big learning experience for me, and so there are some things in there that I'm thinking, oh, you know what, yeah, I'm not going to be doing that in the next book. I can kind of chill out on some of this my style. I don't know, I tend to write. If you can't tell, I talk a lot. Well, it comes around in my writing as well.
Yes, but don't change what you do just based on the one poor review you've got. Oh
no, of course not. But it's always nice. As also an English lit major, I'm really all about, and I'm a teacher, so I really know that people have opinions, and sometimes in there there's some really astute criticism, that if I understand it and agree to it and it makes sense for what I'm doing, then it's something that I'll take into account. It's not like I'm completely dismissive over what people have to say or offer their opinion. Ultimately I will do what I feel is like a good direction of the story and how things are working. But it's nice to get people's opinions, and I'm not gonna, just be completely dismissive over them. I'll do what I. Yeah.
So your book's got, according to this one-star review, refers to an evil warlock. Why warlocks? I like warlocks. I'm a big fan of them.
I'm sorry. Did you say I missed that? It was Did you say it was?
Well,
in
this review, he says it's hard to go wrong with a suspense thriller in which a woman is abused by an evil warlock, and I thought,
yes,
warlocks. I like warlocks.
Okay.
Even the B-grade movie called Warlock, where he needed to boil a kid to fly. Anyway, it's like a tortured sentence for an hour, that movie. Anyway.
Well, it's about witches. I don't even think I actually used the word warlock in the book once. The book is about the Strega, and Strega is an Italian witch, and they kind of, it's based off of a very old religion called Stregaria, which is kind of a witchcraft and nature-based religion. He did not like that book.
Yeah, well, no.
He did not like. No, he did not. So he did not like that book. But it's not everyone's going to like the book. So that's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, but the review is a bit weird. It just says the debut novel is teeming with magical ideas and a good premise, and then further on he says
that was great.
He says my chief complaint of this book is that not enough development occurred that would fulfill the expectations such a magical premise inspires.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, who cares? If there's some people have way too high expectations, and that's why we have like 400 Star Wars films. But anyway,
that's right. This recycles the same expectation. Oh, look, they did it again. We'll go back.
I know. Next thing you know, they'll be calling it Future Run. I'm maybe teasing. Anyway. Oh, all right.
Very funny.
So now, Sam, we've got a few things to do. We've got Word of the Week and prompt and that sort of thing, so please stick around. But where can people find you out on the internet, and where can they find your book?
Oh, well, I do have my website is www.scalban.com.
Mm-hmm.
And my book is at Amazon.com. It's available through Kindle and paperback, and it's also available through paperback through BarnesandNoble.com. And it's also available through my publisher's website bookstores, which is Solstice Publishing.
Cool. And when do you think Barely Living Alive will be out?
Well, my goal is to.
I'm putting you on the spot now.
By the summer, so I get a rough draft by the summer. So, and then I'll just start submitting it and putting letters out, and we'll see. Hopefully, there'll be some interest in it, and I would say a year.
All right. Well, we are going to contact you in 6 months to a year and say, "How's it going?"
Anyway. Oh my gosh, the pressure.
I know.
You've been known to do it.
So.
Anyway.
All right. Well, I'm going to definitely try. And, there's some things that have occurred with my characters that I was not expecting. So things are starting to, take a little twist that I was not anticipating. But sometimes they get a mind of their own. And I sit there and I think, oh, why are you doing this? Why? And they just do it. and I just really don't have much control if it just feels like this character, but they're like people, to real people. This person really wants to do it. They're just going to do it. And I'm like, don't do it. And you're creating a big mess. And then, but so I'm definitely working through it. And now I have a goal. 6 months.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I wish you well. I feel we should do a show called When Good Characters Make Bad Choices.
Yeah, we should.
Gosh, seriously.
What to do when your characters run amok.
Yeah. And then the next thing you know, you're like resurrecting an Italian demon, and you're like, how did I get here? It's just like everything gets crazy.
Huh.
What did you guys knock me into? Oh my gosh.
Like, oh gosh, how did this happen?
Mm.
So,
And then you end up on Google for 2 hours trying to make sure you got rock solid backstory.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man.
Hmm.
Why?
Well,
So,
should we do a word of the
Exactly.
week?
Yes, let's see if you could pronounce it.
I think I've got this one covered. So
You
this
do.
word of the week was taken from A Word a Day from Anu Garg, and the word is plaint. Now, I was going to say, God, how lazy have we become? But this word actually came from 1225, and it seems that, I don't know, maybe words they do a full circle. So plaint means complaint or protest. So it's just, the last bit of that, plaint. I don't know.
Plaint.
But-
So maybe complaint came after. So a complaint would be, I don't know, an encompassing plaint.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm making stuff up. But anyway.
Well, apparently it also spun off the words plaintiff, plague,
Yes.
plankton, complain, and fling. How do you get fling,
Fling?
from plaint?
I don't know. That's pretty cool.
I think someone was sitting around having a few too many going, plaintiff, yes, let's write that down. Complain,
Well,
oh,
when it
that's a
comes
good
to
one.
English words and English spelling, one does wonder if much of that was constructed in the pub.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you, that's another good word for plaint. Fling. You're like, yeah, all right, Billy.
God, that's another good word for plate. Write that down.
Yes. Oh, God. Phoned it in. Anyway, let's do a prompt.
All right. So this is our last episode before the holidays, and as you heard at the beginning of the show, not necessarily everybody's favorite holiday. So there's a book out called by John Grisham called Skipping Christmas, and it's a book about speculating what would happen if a family just skipped Christmas. So in that vein, what would happen if you skipped a favorite holiday? If you went against family, if you went against societal expectations and just bailed, what would it look like? And what would be some of the consequences?
I'd be a lot more relaxed.
Let me tell you, I don't have a Christmas tree in our main house because we have a Christmas tree up. We're leaving tonight to our second house, and I have to say that spending the last 2 weeks without any Christmas decorations or any tree or anything is kind of relaxing, kind of calming. I'm like, this is pretty cool.
Yes, well, we have a Christmas train around our tree. Sam, what about you? What would happen if you missed Christmas?
I'd probably be more tan because I'd be in the Caribbean or something.
Yeah,
You just take off.
Oh,
yeah.
I would
Wouldn't
just
that be
leave
nice?
and go somewhere and
Yeah.
yes.
that'd be nice.
Well, someone pointed out to me that I now have 16 days off holiday. And
And are you going to take them? No. I can even answer that question.
yeah, I think even Julian said, "That's so cool, Dad." I said, "No, it's not." He's like, "Why not? It's Christmas." I said, "Yeah, but I'd rather be working." He's like, "Why would you rather work?" I said, "Because I would." And I said, "It's going to be a very long 2 weeks with you and I, my friend." So, yeah.
I have to say that one of my best Christmases was when I bugged out and went to your country, and and hung out in Australia for a week, 2 weeks plus, a little bit, with just my mom and the two boys and my husband. We had a great Christmas. It was wonderful, mostly because we weren't responsible for anything.
Well, my neighbours have done that. They've gone back to England for a couple of weeks, or 3 weeks, and so we're collecting their post. But I think they forgot to tell half the people that they're going over there for Christmas, because they keep getting all these Christmas presents arriving from the UK. So I don't know if it's a ploy by them to try and have a secret, we're just going away for Christmas, get away from it all a bit. That sounds like a good idea. But this book looks good. John Grisham's Skipping Christmas. Might have to buy it. It's only $7.
Yeah, that was a neighbor recommended it. She said, yeah, it's just, it's kind of funny because here's this well-meaning couple trying to escape the whole Christmas thing and finding it more difficult than it looks.
All right, well, speaking of which, let's do a tortured sentence.
Next time, don't put the wrong emphasis on the right syllable. Tortured sentences.
So I had that person that gave you one bad review send that in to me. Now,
It's an audio file.
now, this tortured sentence, where did it come from?
Came from one of my students.
All right. Well, this one...
A wealth of tortured sentences. They are so helpful.
This one says, the political class, human rights activists, the religious leaders all have different opinions with regard to this research paper. If they were writing it, yeah.
It's a very important paper.
Wow. So did you question them on this and say, well, of course...
I had a moment with them. I'm like, I think you want to rephrase this. I don't think everybody's interested in the paper. Perhaps in what you're discussing, not the paper. And I don't think they changed it. So they totally deserve to have it highlighted on our show.
Yeah.
Because I gave them all the opportunities I could to say, really, you should change this.
Because I don't think, George Clooney's wife or the Dalai Lama are sitting there going, there is a research paper being written right now. Whoa, I really need to do something about that.
Yes.
Get me this Bram Camp woman.
I liked it so much. It's like, well, that's, confident of you. I'll go with that.
Get Bram Camp on the phone now. I have an opinion that needs to be voiced. God. Anyway.
So cute.
It is. All right, well, that'll do it. So we don't have anyone. When is our next show, anyway?
When is our next show? Let's talk about that, right? No, I'm just kidding. Our next show is going to be way into the 9th, your 9th, my 8th of January. We have a guest, author, Rutanya, I think Rutanya, there we go, Rutanya Alda.
Right.
And we are booked up until February, so we're going to have a lot of authors as we go through the new year.
Oh, there you go. Well, Sam, it's been a pleasure having you on. Are you out on Twitter? You on the Twitterverse?
I am. I am out on Twitter. My handle is @muchasflores.
Why?
It was many flowers.
Yes.
Yes. It was something that was not thought through, and then was too late to change. So we're going with it.
Right. Yes. I tend to do a lot of things without thinking. That's why I end up with usernames like Chooch. And then you try and sign your business up to it, and it's like, dear Chooch, your business is blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, right, better change that. Anyway.
If we get some time, we'll address that issue, but not right now. Thanks very much.
Yes. So, all right. So, to everyone that enjoys Christmas, you enjoy it. I won't for you. Yeah. Hopefully, you get presents that you don't have to take back.
There you go.
And
that could be our grown-up Christmas wish. We hope you have gifts you don't need to return.
Yes. Well, and a bit of a shout out to my brother, who rang me a couple of days ago, going, "I'm at the shops. You've stolen all my ideas." So I didn't steal anything. You gave them to me. It's like, yeah, well, you're not helping me. Got to go. I hung up. So thanks for that, bud. You're on your own. Anyway, all right. So until next year.
Until next year.
We'll see you then.
Your book starts here on the Newbie Writers Podcast.